There we go. Looks like it's working. I think I started like 30 seconds early because I'm excited. It's Monday. How's everybody doing? I love Mondays. I know it's a little weird. I know it's not Thursday, but I went through my normal Thursday routine today because I wanted to be in the same jovial mood I always am. Got up, went for the run, ate, knocked the dogs around, thought about you guys. Great to see you for live office hours with me today. I wanted to hold this event today for a couple reasons. Number one, it's been 18 calendar days since I've seen a lot of you. So I like a major league pitcher in his rotation, I don't like to get out of rhythm too much. I've been with my boot campers we had 5 sessions. They had like 18 hours with me. Hopefully they're not sick of me. If you guys are here, say hi, give me a pound boot camper, let me know. But I did want to get connected with you today. I've got a great schedule I have a great free schedule this week. I want to share that with you. I want to do some Q&A. Let's spend about an hour together and just get, it feels like forever since I've seen a lot of you guys. So I wanted to get caught up. I wanted to help you with your questions. And there are a couple of other things. It has nothing to do with the fact that election day is tomorrow. With all the political craziness going on in the U.S., I don't care what your politics are. I don't care what your religion is. The pigment of your skin, how old you are, how young you are, man, woman, where you live makes no difference. I am an equal opportunity helper when it comes to building a career you love. And my name's Andy LaCivita, and I approve this message. That's right. So that's my political humor for the morning. But great to have you all. If you have not yet grabbed this guy, the Interview Intervention book, please do that. I ordered some more copies a couple of weeks ago. So grab this guy. $29 book. It's free. I'll ship it anywhere in the world for $7. You can instantly get the ebook and the audiobook and a PDF ebook called How to Interview the Employer, 75 Great Questions to Ask Before You Take Any Job. And I don't know if you know this, and I'm guessing this is going to surprise a lot of you because I am like the world's worst marketer when it comes to my monthly coaching program, private monthly coaching program. But when you get this book, you get an email, and for $1, you can come to my monthly coaching program, which I actually have this Wednesday. So some of you in the private groups are going to see me on Wednesday. But if you're new to the community, I always let you try it out for $1. You get like 2 years worth of archives. I've got tons of stuff in there about job searching, and I have a lot of stuff about organizational design, productivity, getting promoted, first 90 days, onboarding yourself, all that good stuff. So that's in there if you want to take me up on that. But the other thing I have to tell you is if you have not signed up for my resume writing live class, the Masterclass I'm doing this Friday, November 9th, and you are interested in any way, shape, or form of putting together a killer resume, please sign up. Today is the last day for you to sign up for that free program. I did this in September. It was a 3-hour and 15-minute blitz where I showed you every single thing about how to write a resume. And I did the Q&A and all that good stuff. But today's the last day to enroll. The link is in the description. But I want you to know this is the very, very best download I've ever put together that I'm giving away for free. And what's in here is if you sign up for that resume writing class, it's free. If you sign up for it by tonight, you get 3 emails, one on the career profile, one on the career highlights, and one on the professional experience section over the next 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I give you the emails. I encapsulated all of them in the booklet for you with the written lesson that I send you, so you have that for posterity. I give you instructions on how to write the resume. I give you the exact template, whether you're a college student or whether you're a pro. You got the template. I'm giving you the Word template, so you can type over that. I'm also giving you all the instructions and the breakdown for every single section. This is the career profile, how to write it, what to include, the template that you fill in, and samples for every section in the resume. And then I cap it off with, actually, this is my favorite part of the whole thing, is it's my achievements journal. But basically, how do you come up with the content for all the sections in the resume? And wouldn't you love to have the data, the detail, all the things that you'd need to know about all the projects that you did in your life? If you get this now, you'll have that so you can think about the stories you want to put into the resume and want to tell in the interview, and you'll have it as a journal going forward to keep track of everything. So this is for all the people who actually show up on Friday, all the attendees. But everybody who signs up today gets the email lessons. You'll get a lot of free content, a lot of great stuff. So even if you can't make it Friday, I would encourage you to get in, get the few extra emails on each section. It's really good stuff. I do not have this in the videos or even in the How to Build the Ultimate Professional Resume video. So I know a lot of you guys grabbed that. Anyway, I wanted to encourage you to do that. So, but great to be here with you. Let's get in the chat. I know that was a quick 5 minutes, but I had a lot of stuff to catch up with you on. Oh, I'm sure that was not a very goodly structured sentence. All right. Okay. What do we got? Muslim, how are you? Ibrahim, great to see you guys. I know we chitty-chatted. Shannon, say hi to Mom. Whoever Mom Lewis is, glad she encouraged you to get into get into follow me. Tammy Ann, great to see you. Let's see, what do we got? Casey, thanks for the nice words. My mom's here. Mom, great seeing you the other day. Always fun. Always fun. All right. All right, Mary has a question. Make sure you guys put question marks in front of your questions. All right, Mary is asking, hi, Andy, any advice on how to advance your career when technology is changing the playing field? Mary, I hate to do this to you. When you say advance your career, well, actually, no, I don't hate to do this. I'm going to give you some insight, but I wish I would know what your struggle is with the technology. Do you mean you are a technologist and you're having trouble keeping up with the technology, or technology has changed the way that you try to find a new employer, or technology has changed the way in which you teach yourself and learn and all that good stuff? Can you give me more clarification? I'll tell you what, if you give me more clarification, just head to the bottom of the chat. Let me know specifically what the issue is, even if you have to take 2 or 3 chats to do that. And Kara will give me a tap on the shoulder and let me know when you're ready, and I'll come back to you. Because I hate to do that, but I could go talking in all kinds of different directions and not actually answer your question, which I hate doing. Okay, let's see here. Who we got? Yeah, I think somebody was asking, I think it was Shannon, about the programs. My job search bootcamp is by far the best value, without a doubt. And the reason that I recommend that program, which has every single thing in it that you could possibly need in order to run an effective job search and grow your career, is because lots of times we think we have one problem in the search process, and really the issue is way over there, and we're looking way over there. But it is soup to nuts, end to end. I mean, we just did 5 sessions. We've got another session next week and another one the week after. So we're kind of in the middle of a live program, which you can jump in at any time. I don't want to go off too much on that because I want to take your questions, but that would be the program I would recommend for anybody, no matter who you are. All right. Wendy, great to see you. Charles, great to see you. Susan, great to see you. 3 boot campers right in a row. Boom, boom, boom. All right, let's see. Kristen, 4. Great to see you. All right, Nick McKay, how are you? Danny's another boot camper. Man, Keith's another boot camper. This is great. Jason's another boot camper. I can't believe you guys are not sick of me yet. I really can't. Although I say that tongue in cheek because when my trainers, when they do this stuff, I show up at all this stuff too. Julio's a boot camper. Great to see you, buddy. Sylvia, how are you? From Italy. Madison Joseph from Atlanta, how are you? Oh, Mom, love my lumberjack shirt. Yes, my wife got it for me. Jose, how are you? Brooke is a boot camper. Kim's a boot camper. I love you guys. I can't believe you guys are here after all the stuff we just went through. I love that you're taking out the time to be with me here for more Q&A. All right, Keith is asking me, for resume numbers, percentages from and to, is the following bullet example what you meant? Grew business 10.4 million from, yes. So Actually, so Keith's got a great question. Let me back this up for everybody who's not familiar with my favorite way to write a bullet. So, and Keith, I'll answer, Keith, the short answer to your sample there is yes. I love that. Let me bring it back. So, you write your resumes and you're wondering about what to put in there, and then not only what to put in, but how to structure it. So when you're structuring your bullets, the thing about the resume that most people don't understand is your resume itself should be a contained document that has all the information in it that I actually need to make a good decision about whether you're somebody that I should speak to find out more. And the more questions that a reviewer has about you as they look through your resume, the more frustrated they become. So it's like, I see you manage the customer service department, but what did you really do? Did it improve? How many people were there? Did you improve customer satisfaction? How much did you improve it? From what to what, from when to when, and so on. So what I always tell people is there are great questions to ask yourself when you're creating a bullet. And some of the questions, without going into, there's 7 or 8 of them that I like to ask, but they're things like, well, what was the benefit? So what actually happened? For whom did it happen? So who was the beneficiary of what you did? By how much? So did it increase? Did it decrease? What happened? How long did it take you to do that? So from when to when, and so on. If you start getting these questions answered in the bullet, you might think that the bullet would be super long, but it's not. It could be 1 line or 2 lines, but it will be tight, and it will actually tell me everything I need to know about that particular event in your life, and it will have a lot of color to it. If you have not seen it, I did a live office hours actually earlier in the year, called How to Write the Perfect Resume Bullet. And it really is about including all of this information so that the reader or the reviewer has context. And that's what gives it power. That's what makes the reader feel satiated. And you're including all of the questions and answering all the questions that I likely would have. So if I have to ask questions when I look at a bullet, that's less effective than if you answer them all for me. And when people say, well, I have to have something to talk about in the interview, trust me, your resume is a collection of highlights of your experience. It is not the kitchen sink. It is not every single thing that you've done. So if you're going to speak about a highlight in that, say, 2 pages or less that you're going to use, you want to make those highlights very powerful. So Keith, grew business, whatever the business might have been, you could say grew business by 68% from, 15.2 million to 25. You could have just said that during 2016. There might be a little bit more context that you want to put in, what kind of business it was, what customers you served, or whatever. But that's what we're talking about when you talk about writing the perfect bullet. Now, if you were in the boot camp with me, the Job Search Boot Camp, we go through this in session 2, which we just did a couple of weeks ago. And actually, we're going to do another session with the boot campers in a week, where I'm going to pull up a whole bunch of examples and templates and nuances and unique situations and all that stuff that we didn't get to in the first round. So Keith, this is going to be great. Hopefully I'll see you there next week. And anybody else who wants to jump in can certainly catch up, because everything's recorded for you. So, and if you're not sure, just come to the resume writing thing on Friday. You're gonna learn a ton, and you're gonna see it in action, because you're gonna get a lot of that then. So I hope that helps. Pilar Perilla, great to see you from Houston. Roberio, how are you, buddy? Yes, your Lucas father. Tell him Uncle Andy said hi. Love those pictures, man. Samuel Brady, got it, love it, both, great. Linda LaCivita. Oh, look at, my wife. I got to tell you guys something. And actually, I know this is my wife's story and a kind of my mom's story, but I want you to know, because this tells you a little something about me that I hope you can apply to your life. This is like the 50th live office hours we've done this year, within like the last year. And it's not like one a week for 50 weeks. We had some we did 4 in a week or 3 in 3 days. And we did that in January and July. We did 4 last month, live sessions and things like that. So these really add up. Every single time. It's fun for me. My wife sends me a little love message right before, like she does at 10:58 and says, love you, go get them, have fun, give those guys your best. And, so every single thing that you do in your life, your routine, your routine, your daily stuff, your planning, your maintenance of your life, your career development, your training, whatever it is, you got to make it so that you really enjoy doing it. Otherwise, don't. You don't like the job, change jobs. Your tactics ain't working, you might have to change them. But when you get a routine that you love dialed in, enjoy it every single time. Don't let it get old. Don't let what was once a miracle to you become common. The first time I did this, I literally watched the first one I ever did that was in a private Facebook group in the Mile Walk Academy. And, I had a good chuckle. So every single one of these is genuine. And that was awesome for me too. I wasn't as good at it as I am now. But anyway, I hope you guys can take that with you, because routine matters. What you do every day in your life matters more than what you do every once in a while. And once you do it and you do it and you do it over and over again, keep looking for ways to enjoy it and have fun. And yes, my wife normally will never buy me clothes, but she got me this shirt, which I love. Okay. Tashelle, great to see you. Another boot camper. You guys are great. All right, what else? Go on. Nick McKay, we got a question here. Haha. Okay, funny. Nick's a funny guy. Have I thought about writing a book on how to interview? Oh man, that's fun. Okay, that's good. Hey man, my next one. Nick, I'm going to get you to put a quote on the cover of my next book. Connie Cotter, great to see you. Yes. Oh, I know, Connie. I watched that game last night. I'm not as sad as you are. Pilar. Actually, I think you asked, Pilar is asking about the resume writing class, the sign-up page. So Kara just dropped it in a few lines below at 11:07 if you toggle your timestamps, and she's at 11:07. And also, if you, for whatever reason, don't get a chance to do it right this minute, in the description in this video, this stays up on YouTube. So after we're done, it'll go live and it'll be recorded. And in the description, it'll be right up at the top, because I don't want you to miss it. If you are loving this, always click the thumbs up like button on the video and share it with your friends too, because we're going to be on here for a while. So hopefully they can enjoy too. Mark, great to see you. Tiffany's got a question. Oh, Tiffany, you commented, and I'm glad you showed up today. Okay, great. I mean, you commented the other day. I got your YouTube comment, and I hope that helped. Advice for someone who graduated 5 years ago with a degree in computer science. Wonderful. I haven't worked in the field because I was a stay-at-home mom. How can I explain this to potential employers? Tiffany, you just did. So multiple things here for you, Tiffany, and everybody else, whether you're a stay-at-home parent, stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home dad, whether you were out for a year or two taking care of any family members or a sick child, heaven forbid, or anything, whatever it is. My spouse moved and we moved across country or moved to a different country or whatever. So I'm now looking for work. Any reason why you have a gap, whatever it is, even if you got let go and you've been looking for a year, whatever it is, you just explain it straight away. That's it. I got my degree. I had children or children. I stayed home. I'm returning to the workforce. There's no explanation necessary. Other than that, there's no explanation necessary. Now, the tactics by which you want to package up your stories, if you haven't, I don't know if you're, say, 27 years old, give or take, where you graduated when you were 22, and now you had a family right away, and you're coming into the workforce at 27 or something like that. But regardless, I have a lot of aids out there with how to overcome these obstacles. And as a matter of fact, Tiffany, for you and everybody else who's a stay-at-home parent, or who's had an absence in the workforce, if you go to either the mile, I think it's on the andrewlacivita.com blog, the Mile Walk blog, or if you go to the Mile Walk Academy front page, there's a download with how to go from stay-at-home parent to working professional, and it's a thick booklet that takes you through the steps that you should use to do that, and that will help you re-enter the workforce if you've had a gap, or to enter the workforce if you haven't been in it yet. So I would highly recommend that. So I hope that helps. And regarding how to explain it, you can also, if you feel compelled to put it in your cover letter, go ahead and do that. You're going to have a resume of some kind with whatever that you've been doing for the last 5 years. Hopefully, you have been doing something to stay active and grow whatever skills you can. If you haven't, I would also suggest maybe you get some free or paid training to bolster whether it's your computer skills, your technology skills, or whatever it might be. But employers also want to know, what have you been doing since you've been out? As a matter of fact, we are going to be doing a live office hours on that. When you have a gap in employment, and for whatever the gap is, what do you do from the time you enter the gap to the time you exit the gap? So it's not just how to handle the gap, it's what you should be doing along the way to make the transition back easiest whenever that transition is. So keep a lookout for that. If you're on my email list, you'll get these alerts. And if you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, which I hope you are, if you're not, please subscribe, and and that'll be coming here soon. All right. Kika, how are you? Oh, wait, before I get to Kika, hey, Kara, I don't know if Mary put her any additional commentary on her question. I'd like to get back to that. If she didn't, give her a little poke and her friendly tap on the shoulder, we like to call it. All right, Kika, do you have any advice for a recent college grad with a history degree? It seems the field is limited with liberal arts degrees. Regardless of what your degree is, for anybody who has any degree, one of the biggest things that you need to do is you need to look for what are the actual capabilities that you have developed as part of your curriculum, as part of your summer jobs, any work projects, any volunteer work, anything that you've done throughout your high school and college, your schooling. And then what I always tell people to do that have a degree where it might be difficult to break into their field, there's a couple of routes you can go. If you are interested, so Kika, I don't know what your desires are. So you shared with me what your degree is in. If I was a history major, there's many fields that you could enter. Political arena. There could be a lot of different things in that regard. I mean, you may or may not want to do that. Teaching. There's a number of other things that you can do with a history degree. First thing you got to do is you got to identify what your interests are. Then you have to bridge the gap between what it is that you've done, studied, worked on, or can advertise about yourself that you're interested in, and where it is you want to go. So did I learn skills that will make me a good professional or a suitable professional for this particular type of career or that career, and so on? I would look to see how I would bridge that. And the other thing that I would do if I was a recent college graduate is you have to keep in mind, just because, and I don't know if you're in the United States, but generally speaking, there are exceptions, of course, but unemployment is very low. The number of open positions employers have, there actually technically are not enough people to fill the positions that are open. And I understand that some of you are not working, but you also have to realize if they're looking for people with computer skills and you have a history degree, you don't fit this opening over here. So obviously that there's a disconnect there. But if you do want to take that history degree and do some volunteer work in the field that you likely want to get into, whatever that is, that's one of the best things that you can do. Because if you are volunteering your time, and it doesn't have to be 40 hours a week, if you still want to, obviously you still want to look for work, you still need to have time to do that. But I would try to get in, 10, 20 hours a week of volunteering in the field you want to go to. Believe me, employers are happy to let people work for free. They really are. And usually they'll give you some kind of perks. But the most important thing for you is you're getting experience, and volunteering is, if you're doing it in the field that you want to enter, is the equivalent of networking. So you are now meeting people who are in positions that could likely help you. So those are some of the things that I would do. You have to make sure that you, like I said, you have to identify, what it is that you are able to do and how you can articulate that to prospective employers. And I would credential yourself up in any way, shape, or form that I could in the direction you want to go, whatever that is. So, you just got to think about that. I think your history degree, it's very suitable for some, for some professions, and it's not as suitable for others. So you got to figure out, what's best for you. But those are some suggestions that I would do. Davita, how are you? Another boot camper. Jeff, great to see you too. All right. This is a good one. Actually, I'm glad you asked this, because we don't get this one a ton, but I have a strong opinion on this one. Jeff's asking, what are your thoughts about sharing letters of recommendation? I have several very strong letters, but interviewers seem to be only moderately interested in them. Jeff, honest to God, interviewers are not interested in them at all. They really are not, because references they're fine, but the best reference you can have is a reference that's me referring you into an employer, and I'm vouching for Jeff because he's a super dude and you need to interview him. That's the best reference you'll get. Now, it doesn't matter to me that somebody's going to speak highly on your behalf if I don't know that person. If I know the person and I have a barometer of what that person's word is worth, if they're accurate, do I trust them, and all that good stuff, that matters greatly. But a written recommendation and all that good stuff doesn't do a whole lot. When somebody hands me a letter of reference, I don't read them. If I went to your LinkedIn profile, I would look at the recommendations on your LinkedIn profile. First thing I would look at is, how many recommendations do you have? Then I would look and I would glance through them to see what people are saying. Did they look obligatory, or are they genuinely heartfelt? Okay, so I don't ask people to put a recommendation on my LinkedIn profile ever. That's me. And when they do put it on there, and there's probably like 70 or 80 of them, I don't know how many there are, but you'll notice they are very heartfelt. That's valuable. If you are a job seeker and you're just trying to get people to load up your recommendations, which on the one hand I would recommend because I want you to get that, I would want to make sure that if you put them, you have the power to put them onto your LinkedIn profile, that you are putting the ones that look like people genuinely took the time, genuinely cared about writing it, and genuinely meant what they said. And if I see that theme, that gives you points. But those letters that people want to offer to me on an unsolicited basis, I would never, as a recruiter, ask for a letter of recommendation. I don't ask for references. I judge for myself, and I interview people, and then I trust my ability to evaluate them. Other companies, they do the reference checks. I don't have a problem with that. But letters of recommendation are just not, they're not powerful. They're just not that powerful. And I would ask those people, those letters of recommendation, the folks who wrote them, just simply to serve as your references should you need them. The other thing is who wrote the letter of recommendation. So if it's a former boss or something like that, that carries more weight when somebody's worked with you on a daily basis. And the more recent you interacted with that person, the more weight it carries. But somebody who knew you 10 years ago, it's not that powerful a reference. People change drastically. They really do. So I want you to have that data. Just as an insider, that's how we feel about them. They just don't carry a lot of weight. They just don't. All right. Thomas, great to see you. Is it okay rear interview questions in an interview? I'm not sure what you mean there, buddy. If you clarify, I'll be happy to answer. Abdul, great to see you. Jeff Harlow got another one. Oh, wait. I think that's a dupe. My wife's blowing me a kiss. Love you, honey. And all the third graders at Hilltop. Okay. Sistar 3E. What do you got here? Job found online, third-party recruiter. Okay, you found a job online that was posted by a third-party recruiter. That's what oh, wait. Yes. You found a job online posted by a third-party recruiter. Boo. Third-party recruiters should not be posting jobs. I found his direct phone number, called him. We talked for 15 minutes, asked you for your resume, replied to my email, and said he'd get back to you that day and didn't. To do. I'm not sure what you mean. I'm assuming you mean what should you do? I would email him back, but I would give him a day or so. Here's what happened. You caught the recruiter. I can't believe he picked up the phone. And then he asked you for your resume. I'm assuming you said it. He may or may not have looked at it, replied back to you. If he did one of a couple things. He looked at your resume and decided you were not a fit. Okay? That's one option. I'm not saying that is I'm not saying that's exactly what happened, but that is something that could have happened. He didn't want to get back to you, and he rudely did not reply to you with that feedback. That's one option. Second thing is he opened your resume. He liked it. Maybe he had a great call. He then has to figure out if it's the right one for either his very active clients or clients that might be a little dormant. So there might be clients he's working on behalf of. In addition to the job posting you found, he likely has additional clients that he works with that might not have openings at the moment that you might be a fit for. He's probably trying to figure out what the right thing to do is, whether you're a fit for that opening that you called him about, or whether you might be a fit for one of the other ones, or whether you might be a fit for other jobs that his fellow recruiters and his company are working on. So if he didn't, get back to you right away, maybe you give him a day or so. 3 days goes by, he hasn't contacted you. Not only is that bad etiquette, I don't know that I'd love to work with that recruiter, but I would email him and say, hey, just wanted to check in again. I know you mentioned you were going to get back to me 3 days ago. Certainly not a problem if I'm not a fit for that role. I would love to keep it in mind if there's any other role that you think I'd be suitable for. If you don't think I'm a fit for the role and you don't have anything at the moment, I'd be happy to network with you. I know how valuable our networks can be to recruiters. I'd be happy to offer that up to you. Give me a call. That's what I would do. We're going to, by the way, in addition to the whole going into an employment gap, and I mentioned how I'm going to be doing a live office hours on that, I'm actually going to be doing a whole thing on recruiters. So I know it's very confusing. If you do not know what recruiters do on this side of the table, it's very confusing. It is not intuitively obvious. You have no idea what's going on their end. Trust me. By the way, this is a total side. As I know you all have found me some way, right? You had a problem. You didn't look for me. You looked to solve your problem. How do I interview better? How do I write my resume? How do I write a cover letter? Whatever it might be. Bang, I popped up. And then you looked at me and you saw some videos and you probably watched a few and you saw them. I show up every Thursday and maybe you jumped into the live office hours. One of the things that I want you to keep in mind when you are listening to advice from anybody that's out there are a lot of career coaches out there. And I am a fan of you looking at everybody. You could take in as much as you want. So I'm not one of those guys that say, no, you should only listen to me. I want you to go and find the right coach for you. But one thing that I would encourage all of you to do, because you're all smart professionals, if you are listening to somebody who has only been an HR person, who has never been a recruiter, who has never actively recruited, who does not have loads of experience to draw from, I want you to be highly, highly skeptical of the advice until you can put it in practice and use it and see what works. But trust me when I tell you that in order to give you sound advice, you have had to have been sitting on both sides of the table, because the person who's here, it's kind of like, I don't know if this is a great analogy for you guys, but I don't know if you know this, but if you watch the NFL, the American football, a lot of receivers, so guys that get thrown the ball, they lots of times come from being quarterbacks, the guys who throw the ball, because they have the best sense of, if I was going to throw the ball to me, where would I want me to be? Recruiters can do that for you in an interview. They can do that for you from behind the scenes. They can tell you what's happening, where there are delays, why this is occurring, what went wrong in the interview, because they sat on both sides before. If somebody has not recruited with a high velocity, does not have many experiences to draw from, it's very difficult for them to give you that kind of advice. So when you ask the questions about recruiters, keep in mind that there are a lot of things that they do that no one else ever sees. No one else ever sees. And hiring officials don't see it. HR people don't always see it. Believe me, they're not the same thing. Human resources is not the same as recruiting. So just keep that in mind. The people that you listen to, and I know who the coaches are, who've got the backgrounds from both sides of the table. And it is striking how much better some of these coaches' insight is than others. So I caution you as you guys go out there, because I know there's a lot of stuff out there, and I want to make sure you're getting sound advice. I really do. All right. Casey. Okay, Casey, this is a great question, and I mean that. So Casey's saying, because this is a bigger discussion here. Casey said, I wrote a resume. I'm not getting any offers to interview. How do I know what to update without the feedback from employers? So Casey and everybody else, the first thing that I want you to make sure that you do in your job search, and there are many steps in the job interviewing process. There's the knowing, who you are. There's writing the resume and bringing it to the market and your cover letters and all that stuff. And then there's the search itself, okay, before you even get to the job interview. In all of that stuff, there are ways to trip where people have glowing resumes, but they're not getting any hits because they're putting it in applicant tracking systems where 97% of even the best resumes are never seen. And so it becomes confusing as to, well, how do I know what to change? Well, do I change the resume? Do I change the tactic I'm using to circulate the resume? Give you a great case in point. Shane, who I doubt is on here right now, he's in the boot camp, and he's actually a longtime friend. He is in his early 50s. He lives in a rural area in Missouri. And his scope of where he is looking geographically is where he lives in central Illinois and some of these smaller cities. And he is a high-powered sales and marketing and technology professional. He put his resume into an applicant tracking system, and an hour later got a bong letter. Then he said, well, that was silly. Then he found somebody who worked at the company who got him to the person who he would potentially interview with, who said, this is great. You got to come right over. Okay. Was there anything wrong with his resume? No. But the system didn't let it through. True story. This happened last week. So that happens a lot. Now, you can write a better resume. Come Friday to the class if you haven't been to the class yet. And then what I also recommend on the resume front is write the resume according to the way I teach it, because the way I teach it is friendly for the human and it's friendly for the applicant tracking system. That doesn't mean all of a sudden you're going to get tons and tons of responses from an applicant tracking system. They're bad anyway, but you'll have a better chance. The other thing that I would do is, if you can't come on Friday, if you haven't signed up for the resume writing class, check out my playlist, my resume writing playlist on YouTube. There's a whole bunch of them. Okay, that'll really help you. Then what I would do is, after I constructed the resume, I would run it through JobScan. I don't know if, Kara, maybe can you put the JobScan link to my JobScan page? JobScan is a tool. Full disclosure, I have a professional relationship with them by the way, it's free. It's free for you. You click my link. They notice that you're referred from me. You get like a month's worth of free scans and stuff. And what you do is you take your resume, you take the job description of the job you want to apply to, you put the text of both of them into JobScan. It runs its little algorithm. It looks for keyword matches and things like that. It's not a perfect tool because this is an imperfect process, but it will surface some suggestions for you that might open your eyes as to things that you can change. Silly stuff like don't use acronyms, spell the words out. Don't use tables. Applicant tracking systems have a tough time digesting them. Make sure you're using the right keywords. So don't use business development executive when the job description calls for an account executive, even though it's the same thing. That kind of stuff. So that will help. Then what I would do is I would start to look at your demographic. And I don't know what your demographic is, Casey, but I have several videos out there that show you different work plans that you can use based on how old you are, how much you make, and all that good stuff as to how I would approach the market, the things that I would do tactically, the specific activities like networking, evaluating companies, applying online, and so forth, and how much time I would spend on each of those so that you're giving yourself a greater chance of surfacing the opportunities based on who you are and the likelihood that you will surface them that way. So for example, if you are a higher earner, for example, you have a much greater chance of getting your job through somebody you know or somebody they know. So networking is huge. You got like a 1 in 2 chance. So you would effectively plan your search time, however many hours in the week that you're doing this. 50% of the time, you plan it to network. That's what I'm talking about. So you might not be dialing up the tactics the right way. So if you earn $150,000, you shouldn't be spending your time putting your resume into an applicant tracking system anyway. That's my point. So it's difficult to tell you what's wrong because your tactics could be wrong. Your resume could be perfect as far as I'm concerned. So you just need to be careful. One of the things that I would highly recommend for you, if you did not see them, if you go into my live office hours playlist on my YouTube channel, the last 4 of them, or maybe 4, or maybe it's not today's, but previous 4, were a video series that I did called My Number 1 Tips. And we go into some of the job search tactics and some of that in the job search networking session. And I also have a job search masterclass, which is a 3-part video series that you can sign up for. The middle video breaks down all the work plans. So regardless of your age, income level, whatever, there's a work plan in there for you. So I would highly recommend looking at those too. But the lesson is whatever you do, wherever you send your resume, whatever cover letter you send, how the route you took to get there, keep track. Keep track. Did this work? Did it not? I changed the cover letter or the email intro and all of a sudden people started responding. You are in the ultimate marketing exercise of yourself, and marketing is testing. So just make sure you're keeping track and then look for the patterns. Look for the patterns. I hope that helped. I know that was a lot, but it's very difficult it's difficult for me when you're giving me that. I know it's very hard for you. I know it's very hard for you. Keith, you can register for the resume writing class. It's just more time for you. And you can have it, and you and then you as a boot camper, we're doing one next week. I mean, I'm like live every other day for like, I don't know, the next 8 weeks or something. So Keith, your boot camper one is on November 14th, I think it is. 14th is your resume writing one. But you could come Friday too. That's free. Okay. Lee, how are you? Just aced the interview after watching all your YouTube videos? Yes. Got a really good offer. Love the position. Do I still try to negotiate? Hell yes. I don't care what the offer is. Unless they totally blew you away, yes, ask for more. Ask for more. Is this too good to be true? Do I just take it? So Lee, first off, congratulations. I love the success stories. I love all the stories, but I love it when somebody benefited from something that I put out there. What I would do is I would look for, I would look at the whole thing, really, really look at it, meaning the salary, the bonus, the whatever you have included, the healthcare, the 401k match or not, or the vacation days or whatever. And then I would look at, are you comfortable with everything? If they really blew you away, like, you're earning this and they're way, way up here, you might just take it. But I'm a fan of always negotiating. There's probably something else in there that could be more to your liking. And if you need some tips on negotiating, I would refer you to 3 videos. One, I just mentioned the number 1 tips series that I did. The last live session that I did, that's the 4th session in that series, is on salary negotiation. It's very easy to find. Just look at the live office hours stuff or look at my recent uploads and you'll see salary negotiation with number 1 tips on it. The other one is a live office hours I did on why you do not get paid what you deserve. Check that out. And then the other one is how to negotiate your salary after a job offer. That video is a little older. It's got a lot of views on it. And there's a 1-page negotiation guide. It's kind of a checklist. I made it like checklist style. It's just very simple for you guys to follow to make sure you're hitting everything. But I would check that out too. And actually, I got a bunch more out there, but those are 3 really good ones that come to mind. So I hope that helps, and congratulations. And wait, congratulations, and I'm glad you're here, kicking into the community and offering that up. All right. Pilar, you're welcome. Casey, great question. How do you feel about tailoring a resume to a job description? Use a word cloud to find keywords. Okay, so Casey, this is a great question. I am a huge fan of one-base resume. So like that is my go-to resume. I don't have 4 different versions where this is my sales resume, this is my marketing resume, this is my leadership resume, and blah, blah. I don't love that. It's exhausting to maintain them. And candidly, if you're that big a badass, you should be able to get everything into one resume and minorly tweak it for all those positions, okay? That's the first thing. The second thing is I am a huge fan of every single step you take in the job search process. Every single step, meaning how I draft my cover letter, how I write my resume, how I network and find the people, the messages I send them, the email and submissions into an applicant tracking system. Every single thing should be handled with care. If you do that with care, you will get results that reflect that you did it with care. By that I mean, for you specifically, if I'm going to submit my resume into an applicant tracking system for a job, you bet I am going to make sure I run it through JobScan, I tailor the words, I make sure that I'm trying to raise the percentage match that JobScan gives me. I'm not going to obsess about it, but I'm going to try to be thoughtful about matching it up because I'm going to treat this submission like one beautiful thing, okay? And you should be, it should be surgical. You shouldn't be spraying with a bazooka. You should be watching what you're submitting to. You should be tracking it on your spreadsheet. You should be aligning it up to your target companies. You should know the date you did it. You should know what the tailoring was. All of that stuff matters. And so, yes, I want you to do that. But that is for each time you submit your resume. So I would not try to keep up 5 different resumes. I would have one resume that says, that's what I start with. And I'm going to send it through JobScan for this job. And what you can also do, what I really recommend that you do, you talk about with care, is there's the job description. I can put it in the applicant tracking system. But before I do that, I would go through JobScan. I would marry up my resume to what I want it to look like I was going to submit it, and I would not submit it. I would try to get that into somebody's inbox. So I would try to target the recruiter, the HR person. I would try to find the boss who was hiring for this. I've got boss hunting cover letters and tactics that are free on my YouTube channel. You can just go type boss hunting. There's cover letter samples there. But I would try to get my resume into somebody's inbox, and I would exhaust everything that I could. And I wouldn't just try it for 10 minutes. I mean, I would really, really look and really try to find somebody. And then I would send my resume to that person, and I would give them some time, like a week, to get to me before I ever tried to put it into an applicant tracking system. So that's my preference, but that's what I mean by trying to handle it with care, making sure you're doing everything you can to get that into somebody's inbox. You're going to remember the Shane story. That stuff happens very frequently, where you get immediate bong because no one actually saw your resume. Then you found somebody, they looked at your resume and like, hey, this is great. Would love to talk to this guy. So Casey, that's what I would do. And then negotiate stock options. That's just part of a larger discussion. I want to refer you back to what I just said to Lee on that, and check those videos. And Henry, thank you for that. Yeah, jobscan.co/Andrew-LaCivita is the link, I think. Tiffany, you're welcome. You're welcome. Samuel Brady, we got a similar to Tiffany. Stepped away from corporate for family needs. Okay, did some freelance, now heading back. Issue is I look senior level on paper, but prefer mid-level team member. Is that a turnoff? No, it's not. Here's another thing too, Samuel, that you well, it's kind of weird. I don't know that I ever really thought about it this way. That you have going in your favor. If people know, I don't, and you didn't say how long you were off, but if you've been off for, let's say, a year or two, and you were kind of growing, but you took a year off, you took care of the family, and now you're jumping back in. People are going to be a lot more flexible as far as where you can enter, and they're going to make a natural assumption that you're going to be flexible as far as your entry point into a company. What I would not be flexible on if I were you is the company I was going to join. I always say, you join a company, you don't join a job. I want you to be very thoughtful about the companies you target, but you could be flexible as far as, well, I could start here, but the most important thing for me is, as I return into the workforce, I want to get into a great company. So I'm cool with, kind of coming in at a mid-level management position or a significant individual contributor position or whatever it might be. It's not a turnoff. To me, I don't. What I laugh at. I'm serious. What I laugh at is somebody who hasn't been working for 5 years and comes to me and wants to jump back in like they never left. Trust me, 5 years on the one hand is a short period of time, and it's an eternity as far as tactics changing and things of that nature, technology changing, and other things that could be vital to your performance. The other thing is just, you got a lot of rust. So, you just got to be reasonable. Now, if it's only been a year, you probably can jump right back in without a lot of, the thing for you is going to be the routine and the schedule. That's the exhausting thing. So, but it's not a turnoff. It's certainly not a turnoff to me. We have, so Mile Walk, my recruitment firm, is 15 years old. During that time, we have had about, I want to say, maybe 3% now. It was 4%. I think it's down now. Of the people that we've actually put into our clients, 3% were unemployed at the time we moved them in. And unemployed could have been they got let go and they were off for a couple of weeks, or they were off for a year or two and they were returning to the workforce. So we don't notice that. By the way, the 3% number, so I don't want you to misunderstand. When somebody hires me and my recruitment firm to recruit for them, they have a 96% chance of us surfacing a candidate who is employed and working, and an 89% chance of finding somebody who's employed, happy, not looking, not interviewing, completely passive. Literally, they're minding their own business, and then we called them. Then there's about a 6 or 7% chance of us finding somebody who's employed who is looking, meaning we caught them at the time they were looking because they're unhappy. And then there's that 3 or 4% where we're in between and they are looking. No one cares. None of our clients have ever cared and said, well, that person is unemployed, so we don't think that we want to hire them because of that, or that, that person's out of work, or that person's really unhappy, or whatever. That's never happened. So, my point is, it's not a turnoff if handled properly. Now, I understand you might be going in on your own, but trust me when I tell you, employers care more about you, who you are, your experience, your cultural alignment, your capabilities, and all that good stuff. And if you've been out of work for a year, a lot of them, actually, I don't know if you actually heard me say this a couple of weeks back when I did one of the live shows, where I said there's two things employers love about the recruitment process. They love people they know, and they love the path of least resistance. If you are able to network into some spot and you are ready and willing, employers quite like that, because it makes the recruiter's job easier. The hiring official will say, okay, well, we need somebody to fill the seat, and this guy and Samuel is ready and willing and able, and oh, by the way, Joe Smith referred him. That's great. So that I would be more focused on the networking and all that other good stuff. But no, it's not a turnoff. I know I go off a little bit here, sideways, but I think that insight's important for you to recognize. Okay, James, how to get a higher level job than I am not entirely qualified for. I have the knowledge of the concepts, but not the practical experience. James, here's what I would do. I want to give you, okay, so first off, you threw me into a big ocean there, and there's many, in some industries it's easier than others. In some markets it's easier than others. Sometimes it's easier than others, depending on what the overall employment market looks like. There's a million factors that go into that. One thing that I would definitely say is I would highly recommend looking at how to use the job description to get hired. There's a live office hours that I did. If you just type job description in my YouTube channel or on my blog, it'll come up, and that will help you tremendously and likely answer your question. All right. Kika, I don't know. I'm gonna call you Kika because that's like a long name, but you are welcome, and I love that you're a first timer. Great to have you. Great to have you, guys. If you were loving this, we're coming up on the hour. Click the like button on the video, share it, and make sure. I know a lot of people like to watch the replays. If I answer your question, jot down the time so that you can go back and revisit this. I try to get as many of these as I possibly can. We got a great session coming up on Friday. Please, if you are interested, get into the resume writing program. This giveaway is so good. I'm telling you, I could charge hundreds of dollars for the booklet alone because it has all the explanation in it of everything you need to do, the content, the topics, the samples, how to generate the stories, and all that good stuff. Please don't forget to register, and don't forget this little beauty. Don't forget this little beauty. While supplies last, although I keep ordering more because I feel like everybody should have this book. But don't forget to grab it. It's free, $7 anywhere in the world. All right, let me see. Where are we at? Let me see. We can go a little bit longer here. Rahul, how are you? Hi, Andy. I'm a college student. I need to join your boot camp, and I need some discount, and I have completed my aircraft maintenance engineer. I gotcha, and I need to apply for an on-job training, so I need a good template for the resume, and a good subjective. To give me an example. Okay. Couple things. I appreciate that that you are a college student. I appreciate that there are a lot of people out there that are in between jobs. I appreciate that, not everybody can afford, the $600 for the boot camp and all that good stuff. But the amount of value in there is tremendous. And I have to draw the line somewhere because I feel like I give a tremendous amount of free offering to the world. Every week I show up for you guys, plus the webinars, the live webcasts, and all that good stuff. So I have to stop the line somewhere. We do have specials now and again. If you show up on Friday, you'll get an opportunity to jump in the boot camp on a special price. But But I don't offer payment plans, and I don't offer special circumstantial discounts. So I hope you understand why that is, but you got to draw the line somewhere for me to survive. All right. But I appreciate you being here. I really do. All right. Let's see where we at. All right. Pepe, what happened if I had a big gap for my last work and I haven't worked for many years since I didn't need it? What can I say? What I would do if you are, so the most important thing for employers when you have a gap in employment is not the gap itself. Okay, don't let people scare you, other trainers that is, scare you into thinking because you've been out of work for 6 months or a year or 5 years that you are unhireable or you better do this and that. The most important thing about the gap is that you can explain, I was on a gap because I stayed at home with the kids. My dad was sick. My child was sick. We relocated countries. It was difficult for me. I needed a visa. Whatever it is. I was on medical leave. But every employer wants to hear what you did during that time to stay sharp. So, but while I was off, here's what I did on a volunteer basis. Here's what I did to keep my skills up or learn new skills. They want to know what you did. I often say, talk about what you are, not what you're not. So talk about what you did, not what you didn't do. That's the most important thing about having a gap. Now, if you didn't need it, we have a lot of situations where, the husband's working or the wife's working, they make gobs of money and the other one wants to take a little time off. That's totally cool. And you might not need it financially. But the story you tell in an interview matters. And, if you're sitting across from me saying, well, I didn't work and I didn't do anything because, we're stinking rich or basically you're giving off that impression. And I'm not saying that that's what you're saying, Pepe. I'm just saying that this happens. And I know people do this. They take these opportunities. That's totally cool. God love you. I'm happy for you. But what you did during that time matters more to me. And I have a feeling that matters more to most people. So that's what I need you to focus on. Here's what I did. I was raising my kids. I served on the PTO. Or my kids were in daycare, so I went and I volunteered there and I helped them. And then after that, I did this and that and the other thing. That's what you want. You want to make sure you can package up those stories. And if you do not have those stories to tell, go out and make some. All right. Rob Vasquez. Hi, Andy. Had 3 interviews in the span of a week. Awesome. Was told they're not in a rush to hire. Last time I heard from HR was a month ago, and a decision had not been made yet. Okay. How do I follow up? All right, Rob, anybody else. So, couple things. Every time you go into any interview, first interview, second interview, phone screen, I don't care what it is, in person, panel group, whatever, video, interview. At the end of the process, you need to make sure that you do a number of things, and without going into all the things you need to do, one of them is, hey, I'm super excited. What's next? What is the next step in the process and when? Okay, now, you have a variety of things that can occur. They know what the next step is, but they have to go and collect themselves and determine which candidates are moving on and all that good stuff. That's fine. What would be the next step if I am to progress? You are constantly looking for information about what's next. When will you notify me? If they likely will want to give you an estimate. If they're not sure and they think it's like a week or two, they'll say in a couple weeks. But trust me, they have some inkling as to when they should notify you. If they cannot give you an answer like, hey, Rob, I don't know because we haven't interviewed all the candidates yet, or we're still looking for candidates or whatever, that's generally a bad sign, because if they love you, they should be able to pull the trigger, or at least keep you engaged from a communication standpoint, meaning, hey, Rob, the next thing would be to get you in front of Gary, and that usually takes about a week or two. We'll call you in 3 days to get your schedule. or something like that. They will say something like that because they will want you to have a flag in the ground to look forward to. Every great hiring company always puts the flag out there for you, even if they're not sure. Meaning, this would be the next step. I will get to you by, don't sweat it. If you don't hear from me by Wednesday, you call me on Thursday. That's what every great recruitment process looks like every single time. They never leave it open. If they leave it open, now you're guessing. In the absence of information, you're drawing your own conclusion, which is never good. Then you have to figure out and you question, when do I reach back? So if any of you get in this situation where they say, hey, we're not in a rush, say, okay, can we have a checkpoint? So at the moment that they tell you this, can we have a checkpoint in a week? Because I'm interviewing and I'm going through my job search, and I may have, you may have other things that you're interviewing, or you may be continuing to look, you don't know. Let's have a checkpoint in a week or 2 weeks or whatever you feel comfortable with. So that's what I would do at the time when they say we're not in a rush. You got to put something out there. Can't let them drag it on forever. Other thing, since you now are in the wake of that, it's already been done. What I would do now is I would follow up with them and say, hey, I wanted to follow up. I met with, I had 3 interviews last month, and, I loved it, and I'm really excited about the opportunity with your company. It's been a month, so I just wanted to follow up. That's it. That's what I would do now. I do not like going a month. 1 week, just so all of you know, 1 week is the magical amount of time. So always think in terms of weeks. If you go longer than a week with no dialogue, that's bad. Even if it's a simple email that says, hey, I'm checking in, or I, Andy, the hirer, am sending you, Rob, an email to say, hey, we're still interviewing candidates. I don't have anything definitive for you. I will check back with you within 1 week. That's what good hirers do. They keep the best people engaged and always engaged. And even if you are not the primary candidate for them, they still should keep you engaged, because even if you don't work there, it's still a reflection of their company to the outside world. So that's what I would do. That's how I would handle that. So you want to make sure that you are constantly asking them and you are making them put something in the ground for you. Trust me, this is better. It's better for you to know than not know. All right, hope that helped. Isis, how are you? Struggling to state my accomplishments in my resume. I'm administrative support in the Department of Managed Care of a hospital. Some ideas. Yes, Isis, I even did a video for you. How to use statistics if you are an administrative professional. There's a video on my YouTube channel. Check it out. By the way, folks, I'm not kidding you. Anything you can think of that you're wondering about, just type it in the search bar. You will freak out with what stuff comes up. You're a military vet. There's a booklet out there, how to go from military vet to civilian professional. You're a stay-at-home mom or dad, that's out there too. You're wondering how to negotiate your salary, that's out there too. It makes no difference. Whatever your niche is, go ahead and put it in the search bar. If you can't find something that satisfies what you're looking for, then what I would do, find the next closest thing and pop it in the comments in my YouTube channel. That's where I come up with the ideas of what to give you. So somebody yesterday, I don't know if this person is on the thing, maybe it was the day before, said, hey, could you shoot a video on signs that I should not be taking that offer, or signs that that's a bad company? Yeah, I'm going to make a video on that. So, or we're going to have a live office hours. So if you need something, I'd love to hear you, because trust me, you are not the only one that needs that. You're not the only one that needs that. And if you're telling me that this is of interest to you, there's a great likelihood, because you took the time to tell me that, you are likely representative of others who also need that. So I want to create something for you guys so you know what to do. So these questions are great. Isis, just go check that out. Just go check that out. Believe me, if you are in administration support, there's the number of departments that you support. There's the number of people that you support, the different processes and things that you handle, all the stuff that you do from an organizational standpoint. Every single one of those things can be quantified, without a doubt. All right, James, great You are welcome. Dan Jordan. You know what? I emailed you, man. I didn't hear back from you. So let me know. What you need, and let's try to get that stuff scheduled. Oh, it's true. You don't join a job. You join a company. All right, Nick, question, and I got a few more minutes. And hang on, I have to say goodbye to my cohort. All right, Nick. If potential employer wants to reference check a former boss who you don't trust, feel comfortable with reaching out to, how do you explain why it's not a good idea without throwing shade at the former boss? So, Nick, and this is phenomenal. I mean, that is a phenomenally sticky issue. I am not a fan of going and reference checking with former bosses if you do not feel comfortable providing that boss as a reference. You should not be obligated to do that. I cannot stand it when companies do that because for any number of reasons, you might not get along with that boss. That boss might not get along with you, and anybody who's anybody knows that the boss isn't always right. So I'm not going to go and do that. So from an opinion standpoint, I think that's crap. From a what do you do perspective, I always say how you say what you say is just as important as what you say. You are going to tell them not to do this because you don't want them to. I would say something like, if you're interested in, boss-related references, I would be happy to give you the bosses I admired the most, who I think had the greatest handle on what the company needed to do, who I looked up to, so on and so forth. And you do not need to say anything about that boss. And you are not obligated to provide that boss's contact information. And that's how I would handle that. So don't say anything. You just don't say anything. Tell them what you will offer them. Trust me, that it will work. It will work. I think that is absolute crap that they would go and talk to somebody, because the fact of the matter is, if first off that they're putting so much stock into that, and secondly that they're picking a reference that you would not give them. Now, on the other hand, there are a lot of companies who don't even do reference checks anymore because they're looking for somebody that they might know or can get connected with who can speak on your behalf. I don't have a problem with the company doing that. All is fair in love and hiring, but then they shouldn't need to talk to you about that. They should just go and talk to whoever they want. That's my view. And that happens a lot, especially in the niche spaces. It happens a lot in IT, happens a lot in healthcare, happens a lot in financial services. So, that's my opinion, and that's how I would handle it. So I hope that helped. Oh, Thomas is clarifying here his question. All right, my man. All right, what I mean is using a printed list in an interview, questions in an interview, is that a bad thing to do? If they are your personal questions that you are asking the employer, definitely have them printed. Handwrite them out, print them out, make them organized, and go through and look at them. You are also, I highly recommend you take notes, not only in that part of the session, but throughout the interview. If you are asking about your interview responses to their questions, do not bring printed stuff in there. The only thing that should be printed that's in there with you when you are answering their questions is either your resume or if they have expressed that you bring in sample work or whatever, or create a 30, 60, 90-day plan, because we know how you're going to want to open that market, whatever it is. But you should never script your responses to a question that they ask about a time when you did this or that project or whatever. Very bad. You will lose points. So it's not like it's neutral, it's a negative. So don't bring that in. I don't know if that's what you meant, but do not type out your responses. I would rather you memorize them but make them sound natural. So I don't know, I know a lot of you guys are here with me week in and week out. I know some of you guys are first timers. Normally, we don't do all Q&A. We don't do all Q&A. It's Monday. All right. Normally, we don't do all Q&A live office hour sessions. I normally teach for about 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 15 or whatever, and then we go into the Q&A. When I teach you, that's like me, answering your interview question. Hey, Andy, could you tell me about a time when, how I should interview better or whatever? And then I give you the instruction. When I give you that instruction, what I do is I think about the skeleton of what I want to say to you. So I don't think about all the exact points, and I don't ever type out what I'm going to tell you. 90% of what I tell you is extemporaneous. So all of this stuff, even when I'm teaching, I just say it's the first time out of my mouth, the way that I'm saying it. What I do have is the 5 points that they need to hear from me. Meaning, okay, I need to tell them about the book, okay, I need to introduce a few things. Then I need to give them a hook to make sure that they understand what we're going to go through. Then I need to tell them that there's these things I don't want them to do, and these are all the common mistakes that they make. So then they'll understand, and I need to calibrate them so that they know we don't want to do that, and why we don't want to do that, and what to do instead, and so on, and then give them a sample or something like that. That's all I do. And then I think about, okay, well, I need to tell them about this and that and the other thing. I put that in my head, and then I take you through the lesson. That's how I would recommend you go through and prepare your interviewing responses. Okay, so I did this project that we did at Company XYZ, and here was the business problem. Here was my role. Here's how big it was. Here's what we did. Here's the problem it solved. Here's what I learned. Here's what I boom, boom, boom. If you got that checklist in your head, it will all come out eloquently. You don't have to memorize it, but you got those little, I call them, they're like little, they're like little hotels in my head of memories or things that I need to make sure that I get out to you. That's how I would prepare when I'm responding to the interview questions. And it will sound very natural, and you will make sure that you're going through your checklist or whatever that is. So I don't know which of those you were asking me about, but don't ever type out your answers and look at them and refer to your notes when you're responding to something that you should have lived through. If it's on your resume, it's fair game that you should recall it. Even if it was 10 years ago, spend some time and prepare. This thing that I showed you, the journal part, that will help you. And if it's something that is not on your resume and you bring it up as an example and you're going to tell a story, you better damn well remember it. I mean, you better know it, because if you start fumbling or thinking about stuff, it appears as though you didn't actually do it or live through it. And that's what, then you start losing trust. If you're in the middle of an interview and you're trying to recall stuff that you should remember, that's just not great. You're not going to score some great points. So I hope I hit all the scenarios there, but that's how I would address that. And I would not, bring your typed up notes if they're questions, take notes and answer the questions more extemporaneously, but prepare. And if you, I have a free webinar called 3 Keys to Ace Any Job Interview. It's recorded. But if you stay to the end of that and you stay inside the webinar system, don't bounce out, you get a free ebook called Ace Your Job Interview with the 14 most effective job interview questions, 43 variations of those, why the employer asks them, what the employer is looking for, and the very best responses. And you could use that as a crutch. Also, this guy has it all in there too, in a different form. So I hope that helps. Jan, good to see you. 3 active ops and extensive positives, all of them. Seems like they're all planning in either December, January start. Folks, this is a great time for you, for you all. I mean, it really is. Don't subscribe to that, oh, it's the holidays, nobody's hiring bunk. That's crazy. We're getting calls every day for searches that we got to take. Or that the companies that want us to take searches for them. They're in hire mode right now. Take advantage of it. So James, this is a great question. What's the best avenue to get my application viewed. The company's website, Indeed. I've heard that some companies utilize more avenues than others. James, number one, get it in somebody's inbox. Get it in somebody's inbox. So that's the first and best way. The second thing is, I don't think that one is favorable to another. If the company has a posting on its corporate website, go ahead and put it in there. If they've got a job description on Indeed, you can go ahead and put it in there. It's all going to go into the same spot for them for most of the time. But I don't know that one is preferred to the other. They're going to get them. They're paying for the service from Indeed. They're going to get those. All right. Jan, great question. How do you handle managing multiple offers and wanting to have some time to make the right selection? Typically, when given an offer, you are expected to wait long to accept. You are not expected to wait long to accept. Okay, so all true stuff. Sure, an employer wants you to respond as quickly as possible. But when you are going through the process, when you start the process with any job interview, with any employer, if you are only interviewing with that employer, I say to them, I'm only interviewing with you. I'm going to share with you what I'm doing, and I will let you know if I start interviewing with anybody else. And in fairness, I'd like you to be honest with me about where I am in the overall process, how many candidates you're interviewing, and so forth. Quid pro quo. Okay, that's the first thing. If you are interviewing with multiple companies at one time and you are going into an interviewing process, say, I'm interviewing with this company for this role. I'm on the second interview. I'm in with this company. I get the phone screen this afternoon. I'm with this company. I'm a little further down the road. Companies want to know this stuff. You are better off letting them know this. And then in return, they should also be fair and honest with you and letting you know, okay, you are here, she is there, and so on. You don't think that, a lot of people say, well, why would I want to tell them that? Because nothing burns an employer more than when they love you and they say, hey, we'll have you meet Susie on Tuesday. And then you come to them on Friday and say, hey, I decided to accept this offer. And they say, well, we didn't even know you were interviewing with anybody else. We'd have moved Susie to yesterday. You didn't give us a chance to do that. You're not communicating with us. And they think you look shifty. So to be safe, always tell the truth and be upfront. You will not lose your negotiating power. Trust me. If anything, you are gaining points. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it's true. Okay, that's the first thing. As you are going through the process and you get multiple offers, when you get an offer, you call the other company and you say, I just got an offer. It's written. I'm looking at it, staring at it. It's pretty damn good. Whatever. I got an offer. And you let them know. And you don't say, I got an offer. Let me share it with you. I'm going to give you all the details. So will you please give me your offer? Just say, I wanted to let you know I got an offer so that you could decide what to do. Meaning, do you accelerate me? Do you wait until I decide? Whatever it might be. If they're going to come all in really close, like, okay, you're going to get this one Wednesday, this one Thursday, this one Friday. Something like that happens. You say, okay, I'm anticipating an offer from the company. You get your Wednesday offer. Email the Thursday and Friday people. I just got my offer. So I'm looking forward to evaluating yours. The Wednesday offer people, you tell them I got two offers coming, one tomorrow and one the next day. You follow me? So you just want to make sure that you're being honest. And I want to make a good decision. The great companies will let you take your time, because what I don't want to happen, if I'm Wednesday company and I give you an offer, I do not want you accepting my offer if you want to accept the other two. If you accept mine and then you look at one of the other ones, or you are constantly looking over your shoulder as something you should have done, that's not good. I'm constantly going to be worried about whether you're going to leave. And I'd rather have you not accept my offer than come here and be concerned that you should have taken and gone somewhere else. You should take another one and gone somewhere else. So the communication is paramount. And believe me, it works. It really works. And I'd be interested to know if any of you, maybe next live office hours, if that was not the case, if you feel like you tripped up. And I'd be interested to know that. But I've been doing this a long time. And I'll tell you, every time that we're working with somebody who is interviewing with other companies, we are constantly in communication with them about, has anything changed? What happened? How'd the next interview go? What does that look like? When's the next one? We're always going back to our clients and saying, okay, that's where she is. So just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. Every good company will give you a chance to have all the information and make a decision and be at peace with it. And if they don't, then you have to start asking yourself some different questions about whether that company is a good one for you to go to. All right, I hope that helps. Shannon Lewis got in here. I have been an estate manager for the past 6 years, and I'm now trying to break into HR. I've changed majors to HR management and will graduate the summer of 2020. I think my title is confusing and keeping me from getting my foot in the door. Should I change my title to operations manager? If you are an estate manager, Shannon, do you actually manage estates there's many different facets of estate management. There could be estate managers that work in financial institutions that manage wealthy people's estates. There are office of the family who manage family people's estates. I don't know what it is specifically as an estate manager you are. What you could do is look at the job descriptions or the companies that you're looking for, what the nomenclature is of the type of position that you want to go to. If it's an operational management position, and that's the proper term, operations management is pretty darn generic. That's good and it's bad. So what I would probably do is you could call yourself an operations professional with expertise in estate management, human resource, whatever they are. And in the core competencies, I think I read somewhere in the chat that you looked at my How to Build the Ultimate Professional Resume and got the template. You'll notice that the second paragraph of the career profile, and I hope you're coming Friday if you can, is on the core competencies. And you can put the core competencies in that second paragraph. If any of you don't know what I'm talking about, come Friday and I'll explain it and give you samples and show you exactly what I'm talking about. But here again, if you are, all you that are pivoting your career, wholesale changes to your career, changing markets, whatever it might be, it's like a change. So you're not like a salesperson in consumer products and you're moving to another consumer product sales company. If you're making a pivot in your career, you really need to be focusing on your network and direct targeting into people's email boxes with your resume. If you are fighting the applicant tracking system and you don't have the bullseye credentials, you are going to have a tough time. So just make sure that you are leaning on those other tactics from a job searching standpoint. And the one video, Shannon, that I would recommend that you watch is the one I just did on job search networking. So it was session 2 of the 4-part video series I just did called My Number 1 Tips. And it was called Job Search Networking. It was session number 2. You'll be able to find it easily. It's in one of the recent uploads that we did it live. But I would target that to give yourself more ammunition as you search. I'm guessing it's not going to be your resume for you. So I hope that helps. All right. Muslim. Let me see how we doing. Okay, I'm going to take this one. What if I have a gap because I couldn't find a job? What should I say? In this case, Muslim, I gave this answer. They want to hear about what you did. I have a gap. I was targeting the companies. I prepped my target company list. I went to town. While I was doing that, I also did what? Certifications, volunteering, whatever it is. But talk about what you did. All right, listen. I gotta cut and run because I got a meeting. Love to see you guys. Do me a favor. Do not forget this. This is golden stuff, man. If you need help with your resume and you need lessons on the resume, you want the Word templates, you want this workbook, you want all the stuff that goes into it, sign up for the resume writing class for Friday. But the deadline is today because I got tired of cutting stuff off an hour before. I want you in and engaged, and I want to give you the homework lessons. It's better. You get more stuff. So we cut it off today. So don't forget that. If you're gonna get a new video tomorrow, If you're interested in my private monthly coaching, that's on Wednesday. If you're interested in that, it's $19 a month, but I think you can get it for $1 like for your first month. And then on Friday, we got the resume writing class. And if you are interested in the boot camp and you did not get a chance to get in with the promotion that I did just before we started the live sessions, email me to support@milewalk.com and let me know you're interested, and I'll give you the best price that I can. And you can jump in because we got more sessions coming up in the next couple weeks that are live. And you got a lot of additional coaching. And then the boot campers are going to be getting some special stuff that I haven't even told them yet in December. All right, if you're loving this, click the thumbs up, the like button. Make sure you are subscribed. I will see many of you in a couple days. Otherwise, I'm back the following, I think, Thursday, back on a regular schedule. All right, take it easy. Love you all. Happy Monday.